Martine, I have already decided this is going to be such a fabulous conversation. Just the last 5 minutes alone, I'm sad that I didn't hit record already because that was so juicy and good. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
I would like to start off at the question that I seemingly have forgotten to ask the last few
All good.
episodes because I'm just in it. I'm in such a I love this podcast so much. I love the amazing women that are finding me, that I'm attracting, these gorgeous conversations. And we go so beautifully deep, so beautifully fast that I didn't even ask them the one question that was intended to start the conversation. So I would love to know, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
Oh, that's such a nice question to open. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. It's really nice. It's like self-reflective.
Yes.
Um, So I'm saying yes to myself this season by really taking the time every day to do something that just speaks to me, just for me. So
Mm.
I'm a suds girl. I love bubble baths with the candles and everything. And though it takes more time than just a regular shower or whatever it is, I make it a point at some point in the evening to just take my time. It can be a half an hour, it can be 45 minutes, it can be 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. It's just my time with me. It's kind of like my recharge where I plug myself in. And I'm like, let me
Right.
just be for a moment with like soft music, no interruptions. My family knows. And I just kind of like, and the water, I find water's very therapeutic. For those listeners who find that, it can be very therapeutic. And you just kind of be still, just let your mind go wherever it wants to go. There's no judgment. And you just feel yourself kind of from the inside out for a moment. We don't get a chance to just be. And I find it's very
Right.
grounding and it kind of like presses the reset button for you.
For sure. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. It sounds so decadent and
Mhm.
simple at the same time. It's really beautiful. And I love this, just how you mentioned it, doing that in the evening is so yummy because then you can just
It
get
is.
right into your jammies and get right into your bed and your book and your 20-minute me time in the bath turned into an hour and a half that turned into
Yeah.
8 hours of delicious sleep.
Well, that's it because it sets the tone for like your evening routine, whatever that may be for everybody. But it also like resets your nervous system. You know, we're so bombarded with everything. It calms that down. It lets your body knows, okay, this is coming. So whatever's happening in my day, I know I get my recharge. And even physiologically, like your emotional body knows it, it will be able to be more resilient during the day because it knows that at some point it gets your attention as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so nice of us to do for ourselves. I just,
100%.
that's so great. It's funny. I live on a small flower farm in New England, and when I lived in California before I moved here, I was always take a shower in the morning, do
Right.
my hair, the whole thing. But now I live somewhere where I get dirty all day and I can't get into my beautiful ironed sheets that I'm dirty. So I have to shower or bathe at night. And my body knows that sleep follows a shower.
Yeah.
Like just like you said, it has this muscle memory or whatever. I'm better science than that. But now, if I take a shower at if I early in the morning, it's okay, but any shower after 10 a.m., my body says, "All right,
Oh, we're going to sleep
nighty
now.
night, let's go."
I love it. I love it. But that means too that, it's hopeful for the listeners that you can change a habit or you can change a conditioning that your body has. And if you're stressed out from your day or whatnot, you don't have to like force yourself to go to sleep and am I gonna fall asleep? Am I gonna have, energy the next morning? Your body really follows that conditioning and it's more than happy to just follow the lead. So
That's
we can train it. It's very trainable. That's the good
It
thing.
is. And it's also interesting, I'm was became a mother very late. in my life. I adopted Amelia from China, and I was 48 when we brought her home as a 2-year old. And it's just interesting getting into these habits of the things that you say when you're raising young children, when she was potty training, or even probably before then as well, because we were doing it around eating. But I would just say, listen to your body.
Yeah.
And then when she was potty training, okay, if you're playing with your friend, make sure you listen to your body. You can always go back and play. It takes longer if you have to change your outfit because you had an accident, you know? So keeping this language of listening to my body and listening to when I need rest, when I need movement, when I need pause, when I need to kick it up. And it feels, it's unfamiliar. And it also has this element of, for me, are you sure? Like, are you like, you can't just be tired. Did I mention you own a farm? Like, you have to,
Right.
tired's not really an option for you until it starts snowing. Like,
Right.
then you may rest.
When there's nothing else left to do and you're so exhausted that you would be able to function, which is the way like 'cause
Right.
society conditions us, especially
Yes.
women, to sort of like do everything, multitask, be everything to everyone, and we're last on the list if we even make it to the list, right? Or sometimes we kick ourselves off. We don't give ourselves permission to do exactly what you just said that you teach your daughter, which is listen to your body. At some point, that's shut down whether it's in elementary school or high school, or at what point in society we get the message that's not a good thing anymore because there are competing interests and you
Yeah.
have to go do this and you have to be this way and there are expectations. And all of a sudden you're absorbing this as a little person and you grow up with it and you don't shed it because you don't realize it's there anymore. And then,
Right.
you get to a certain age where, everything else is stable around you and you're like, well, wait a minute, where am I in all of this? And why don't I count vis-a-vis myself? So
Right.
we need to give ourselves permission to stop, to pause, to take a step back, and then to say, how do I want to treat myself? What kind of relationship do I want with me? And what's the quality of it now? And is that the one I would choose? So I have to listen to me.
Right. And it is an intentional practice, a deliberately intentional practice, because as you said, we are conditioned from a very young age. And I like to believe that the conditioning came from very well-meaning people. It wasn't that, someone was trying to trick us, and it wasn't even it's not even that in our awareness to do it differently that we're mad. It's no one was trying to be a bad guy, and we are not trying to, upturn all the tables of all this stuff that is no longer serving us. We're just making a new decision, and we're going to take the information we have now, the tools we have now, and create some new habits. So it doesn't like need, doesn't, I mean, it often happens on the other side of a health scare, but it doesn't require something dramatic if we can just
Oh,
say,
it'd be nice to avoid the dramatic. In my
wouldn't
case,
it?
it was a serious car injury and a serious concussion. I was literally hit over the head. The universe is like, okay, you need to do things differently and you need to go do something different and you need to serve the world in a different way. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then it's like you get literally hit over the head. By the way, if you don't listen to yourself enough and if you're out there constantly doing, 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 and you don't take time to recharge intentionally, something will come to stop you in your tracks. That's basically inevitable. So, like you say, and I love what you just said, it doesn't have to be that way. You can sort of preemptively just say, hold on, I'm going to put this as part of my routine.
Right. Because when something traumatic happens like that, and I'm so sorry that that happened, I'm glad you're okay.
Yes.
It seems like we almost give ourselves more permission, so what is coming to mind is I lead culinary trips to France for solo female travelers. And often a woman really wants to go on the trip. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been watching you do this for
Right.
years. I keep telling myself I'm going to go. I really want to go. There's that timing just doesn't work because someone's not going to camp or somebody has a dentist appointment or somebody's husband had ankle surgery and you know what, there's always something and that requires us because that's normal.
Yeah.
But sometimes the women that I'm speaking to feel like there has to be a space on the calendar where not one creature, human, canine, feline, whatever, that will not be not even negatively impacted, just impacted by her absence, which of course is never going to happen because she's a phenomenal woman doing phenomenal things in the world. So I think it's fascinating that that scenario doesn't elicit um, the same energy in asking for someone else to do something for her. Like, hey, somebody, can you pick up the kids? Can you do this task for me so I can go live my best French life? But if she got COVID or broke her leg or something not fun, it's almost like you're allowed to ask, oh, you're allowed to ask for help if you're worse off than the person you're asking. But if you're doing something that's better off than the person who's also going to do your chores, that's not allowed.
That's absolutely true. And I would add to that too. It's okay if it's not perfectly done in your absence. It'll be good enough because that's the other thing. It's like, but I know how to do it and I'll do it well, and she won't like this and that one won't like that food.
Mhm.
And it's like, if God forbid you had to leave for a week or if you got sick or something, it would still function. Not everything's gonna fall apart. So you can take that time off. It really comes to conditioning. It comes to seeing that we do so many different things and we're not that good at delegating. We really aren't. It's hard,
Right.
but it's
Well,
also part of our nurture, nature to sort of say, well, I want to be there for everybody. I want to be there for my family. I want to be there for my friends. I want to be there for my job. I want to do a good job. It's part of the way that we honor and express ourselves. We just
right.
forget about the part that's just between us and us.
Right. So, how do we move through that? I mean, I feel like I'm consistently giving women opportunities to say yes to themselves. So, yes, you could just say yes and cross your fingers and hope that everything goes well. But spoiler alert, the
Yeah.
dishwasher will not be loaded correctly. You
But
got to
it's
be okay with
okay.
that.
But it's
Yeah, it's
okay, right?
totally okay.
So for a lot of people and listeners may be in different places in that yes kind of spectrum. But one thing I would say is, how does that feel when you say, "Can I say yes to me?" Because for some people that'll trigger something. It'll trigger some pain where they've been sort of avoiding themselves for a long time or not meeting their needs, and that can be pain, and that's okay. Whatever kind of feeling it elicits, it can be guilt. It can be, well, I don't even know what that means to say yes to myself, right? Or I do say yes to myself, but then it's like, well, do you have time to breathe? No, but it doesn't mean I'm not saying yes to me. I'm doing all these cool things and I'm volunteering and I'm here for my kids and everybody loves me and my husband. But it's like, no, no, no. This is what we mean. It's move all of that aside and it's nothing external. It's just something internal between you and you that would happen regardless of whether whatever hat you're wearing. It's when you're hatless, right? So what are you
Right.
doing for you when you're hatless? So that's a way to understand, oh, okay, I need to redirect my compass to what yes means. So it's something that hatless that benefits no one but yourself, refills you, but means something to you. So I'm also a cappuccino lover. So every day I have a wonderful machine. I love gadgets, but that's one thing that, I will spend on because for me, it's part of my morning joy. So I make myself a cappuccino and I decide every morning what kind of milk I'm going to use, whether I want to put chocolate or cinnamon or both on top. And it sounds funny, but I know and my body knows, and I can have 10 minutes to drink it. I can have a minute to make it and I have to rush out the door to a meeting. All of it is fine because I actually take the time to do it. And when I'm doing it, I'm not thinking about something else. I'm thinking about how much froth I want this morning, how much milk, how much water, whatever. It trains my body to listen to itself. It trains my mind to be aware that there is a body. We have an emotional body, a physical body, a spiritual body, and a mental body, and they all speak to each other. But if we're not present, we don't hear the conversation and we only get sort of the conclusion, which is, I'm tired, or this is horrible, or I feel bad, or I'm running on empty, or I'm stressed, or I can't do this because I can't take time for me, guilt. All of those things are just the conclusion to a conversation that's happening between these different bodies that we house. But if we're part of that equation and say, hold on a second, I want to hear everything and I want to understand it and I choose what's aligned. So I don't have time for a 1 hour bath, but maybe I have time for a 10-minute one. The fact that I did it shows my body that I actually won't betray it, that it can trust me, that I
Mm.
won't overdo it beyond, getting into exhaustion or burnout or whatever it is, or just lack of fulfillment in life or just lack of joy.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
right. So that's the first step. And whatever resonates in what I said, it's all fine. Like if a person feels triggered by that, angry, sad, no judgment of emotions. It's also a message. We need to hear those things because once we hear them, we can sort of incorporate them into who we are. And then we can respond to it like a little child that would come to you and say, Mom, I just need a hug. So, like, I'm busy. I'm like, you interrupt whatever you're doing. And you're like, absolutely, sweetheart. That recharges it. It also reinforces that relationship. And then everybody goes back to doing what they were doing. How often
Right.
do we do that with ourselves? Because we need it just as much as anybody else needs it.
Oh my goodness. All of that was so beautiful. I have never heard it said that way of we are focused on the conclusion of a conversation that is going on that we are not paying attention to. That is, it's beautiful. I just like want to take a minute
Yeah,
to
yeah.
integrate
It's
that
it's
because
and
it's
this is what happens. Like I wrote a book all about this and navigating the relationship we have to ourselves, and I call it going to your inner boardroom to hear all the different sort of aspects of, when we're say we're at a crossroads and we're not sure what choice to make, or we have competing
right,
interests internally, we usually either grab the loudest voice in the room, right? It's going to tell us you can't do this or you have to do that. And we ignore everybody else, everything else within us, or the one that, is the least scary, that doesn't ask us to go outside our comfort zone, or just the knee-jerk reaction one that is on automatic pilot that we're used to, right? The closest one. But we don't actually sort of take a step back and do inventory. I want to understand really who I am. I want to understand where this is landing for me and what this does to my body and how I actually think and feel about this, right? And
right.
then I can re-channel it to something else if I want, right? We said, it's very sort of the mind is very coachable, it's very trainable. But we need to be in charge, not our fears and not our expectations and not our conditioning, but just the essence of who we each are, and we're each beautifully unique.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is so beautiful. And I love this reminder to have these conversations at some sort of cadence that doesn't require traumatic experience,
Right.
but also to not only listen to our body, but to check in with our body. We were talking a little bit before I hit record about how I grew up in California and now I live in Massachusetts and I'm experiencing seasons. And I find it so fascinating because when I lived in California, like fall is a decision you make. It's not something that's
The
nothing's
different color you wear,
changing.
it's a different color you
It's
wear.
exactly right. I'm only wearing brown from October 1st to December 1st, which is the first day of Christmas. And I'm sweating at the pumpkin patch because it's so hot, but this is what I must do. And it's with the seasons, with the change, there is so much mindfulness and intention around, oh, okay, like some of the timelines speed up a little bit because there's going to be a change in the weather. Some of the beginnings are slower. And so it really takes paying attention. It takes knowing what my property does in different conditions. It takes paying attention to the conditions. It takes taking good notes I just had, a reminder come up on my phone of what a fruiting tree was doing at this day last year so that I can plan. And it's continuously checking in because just like us, it is evolving. It is what you need to do for new plants you don't have to do for mature plants, but
Right.
there's a different kind of care that goes into it so that it is producing the way that you want it to produce. And I know that we are not plants and we are not about producing, but what I am hearing you say is that we get these opportunities. You even do it daily with your cappuccino of, am I going to put chocolate or cinnamon? Like that there are these touch points that we can train our body. And I love how you bookend your day. Cappuccino and a bath. Like
My
it's
bad.
so good. Your body gets these reminders. She's here. She's with us.
And then it allows you to do so much more during the day without getting emotionally overwhelmed or without getting extra stress because it knows that you're in tuned with it. Now, I love the way you speak about taking care of your property and how meticulous you are about it. But how often do we turn that conversation on ourselves and say, well, am I that even half that or a quarter of that meticulous with me? I'm in tune with this flower and this plant and this tree and the because I know that if I don't deal with it or address it properly, it won't produce for me. But guess what? If you
Yeah.
don't do that, you don't produce for you either. And what we produce is our life and the quality of our life experience,
Right. And I think
right?
that point is so empowering because, again, to our conditioning, we are trained to put ourselves last.
Yep.
So, of course, I'm going to pay attention to the flowers because that's what everybody sees. What I don't do for myself, I convince myself that I'm the only one who's affected by me not taking care of me. And then I make that trade off in my own mind and now subconsciously because it's just become a habit. Okay, I'll stay up later so that I can attend to this person, or I'll go to this thing that I don't want to go to because it'll make this person happy. It's
Right. And we end up stretching the limits beyond of saying the only thing that we can negotiate with is sleep. So I'll sleep less, I'll wake up earlier, I'll go to bed later, I'll do more, I'll do this. But in reality, we're hurting ourselves and we're actually not honoring ourselves. And then we will not be as good for everybody else. Because when your cup is full, you're on an airplane. And what do they say? Put your oxygen mask first. The reason they have to say it, though, it's not the fact that they say that it makes sense. But why is it that they have to keep on harping on that? Because it's not a natural instinct,
that's
which
right.
says a lot about human nature, which is if I have somebody else I need to take care of, why shouldn't I make sure I'm good? Because then I could keep taking care of them.
That's right.
Instinctively, you're going to want to put that oxygen mask on your child or the person next to you who's
Right.
more vulnerable than you first. But then if they need help with you and your oxygen mask is not working, you're both done. So it's
Right.
a way of thinking that shows us that we might need to do things that are counterintuitive at first to then get it right. And again, it's not something that takes time or money or takes away from anybody else. It's not a competing interest if I'm going to make my cappuccino and actually be intentional for that minute, or if I'm going to grab a coffee and just go or do go through a Starbucks like drive-through. It really doesn't affect anybody, but it has such a positive impact on my well-being. And it's
Right.
small, so it's really meaningless. But because it's consistent, the
Yes.
consistency of the small things, your body doesn't need huge things and huge gestures. It's not the vacation once a year that's going to make your body happy with you. It's the little things every day. And by the way, those are sometimes harder to execute because consistency is also challenging.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Preach, preach, preach. I love all of this. It's so good. How would you suggest someone start creating some new habits that attend to these things that you're mentioning, to be a part of the conversation that's happening rather than focusing on the
Yeah.
conclusion without waiting for some health or life event to trigger it?
Right,
Like
where the
what
boat
if
tips
the
over and
podcast is
capsizes.
just triggering it? I'm sorry, I
Right.
spoke up for you.
100, exactly, exactly. So for some people and some of the people that I work with, they don't know what works for them. Sometimes that's the obstacle. Well, I have never done anything for myself in that way. I don't know. And that's such a scary proposition. That's sort of like they'll move in the opposite direction and keep being busy, busy, busy and doing because they don't really know and like, let me not go there. So what I would suggest for those people is to just say, look at what you do now. Look at what your habits are because we all have habits. We realize it. We do things in a certain, even if it means neglecting ourselves, it's still a
Right.
habit. And look at the habit and do I enjoy what I'm doing? Do I like doing this? Does it bring me anything personally? Right? Because if we start first evaluating what the landscape is, then we can do something about it. If we just jump to sort of like, let me switch this, but I may get a lot of resistance. Or, you do it for a little while and then you can't get to that tipping point where then it becomes habit. All of a sudden you're like, well, why did I fall off the wagon? Like, I've been doing this for 2, 3 weeks. It's been going well. I'm happy with the results. And all of a sudden, I don't know. I just stopped. I don't understand. And it's been months and exercising or walking or whatever somebody does for themselves, because it may not be for you. In other words, it's for you,
Mhm.
but it may not be for you. You have to realize what really feels like it's for you, not as an obligation, but as a source of pure personal pleasure. Again, my cappuccino, it's not about health or not. My bath, it's not about hygiene. Right? I'll take my shower anyways. It's just about this is how my body feels good. And it can be
Mm.
going for a walk, it can be petting your dog, it could be gardening, it could be crocheting, it could be, I don't know, listening to something that's relaxing, like a meditation. It could be anything where you're not on, where you don't have to perform, you don't have to do anything with it, you don't have to share with anybody because it's just for you. So, first of all, looking at what you do, because that'll give you an idea of where you're at on that spectrum. Like, am I close to finding something that I like? Oh, I totally neglect myself. You need to understand just how you've been treating yourself.
Mm.
Not to judge it, but just to know it. And once
Right.
you realize that, then it's like, well, what is one little thing I could do? What would make me happy? Oh, well, what if instead of grabbing my tea in the morning or coffee or whatever, I just make my omelet just so, where I take an extra 10 minutes and have my toast quietly after the kids are out of the house, or
Mm.
whatever. I'm really just throwing out ideas, but whatever works for you. Or I'm going to make sure every day that I'm actually take the time to like put on my makeup and choose my clothes, not just grab the first thing that's there. Or if, a lot of people I know have like, including myself, I have colors, but we have black because it goes with everything or whatever. And it's like, no,
Right.
let me not do that. Let me listen to my mood. What am I in the
Mm.
mood to wear today? I don't care if the weather is it's winter, but I feel like wearing white. Like in other words, just do something that's a self-expression of
Right.
yourself and of the relationship and the quality of the relationship that you have with you. The little things, like what would you do for somebody else to show them in a little gesture that you love them? You would do something small, like a little cute thing, like, preparing the sandwich for your kid just so, like without the
Right.
crust or the extra little jam or whatever. But do that for you too. You're going to do things anyways for yourself. The way in which you do them makes all the difference. So it doesn't even add extra work, extra time. It could just be the presence, intentionality, and the little extra that you're going to do it with for yourself.
It's so brilliant and we can do it. It's
That's the
perfect.
point. It's not these
Yes.
huge, big gestures that then are hard to start. So you start small, you start at whatever pace and cadence works for you. But the beauty of that is that it starts training your brain to look at
Yeah.
life through that new lens of, well, can I do this in a way that's simpler for me? Then all of a sudden your brain's gonna have ideas of like, well, if I carpool, then I'd have more time for it. In other words, we start creatively thinking in a
Yes.
certain direction because we're sort of pointing our brain to start thinking in, not getting everything off my plate, but I want to do it well. I want
Right.
to do it so that it satisfies me as well as everybody else. So we're removing the competing interests and saying, well, can it encompass everyone?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I would love to know any listener that has identified some fabulous small thing that they're going to do. I want you to DM me, Wendy.Harrop on Instagram, or go to my LinkedIn, and then I will share it with Martine as well because it's just so fun.
Yes,
And
it's
when
fun.
and this is like we're gonna celebrate your beautiful small yes, and it also provides some accountability. This isn't dumb. Like it gets to be easy, it gets to be enjoyable, it gets to be sustainable, and it gets to have the cumulative effect that consistency has of creating a better experience that you actually enjoyed the journey of.
Yeah. And it's the same experience. In other words, it's the same external set of facts. It's the same experience. It's just the quality of your experience. You can't always control what's going to come at your doorstep, what's going to happen to you, what you're going to encounter. But how you experience it is really the difference. Two people can experience the exact same thing in completely different ways, which means that's how their brain is going to store it. That's what's going to instruct what they think about life, what they think about themselves, what they understand, things to be, what they believe they can and cannot do. It's really far. So, anyways, a big yes is literally, if you really dismantle it, a bunch of little yeses, a bunch of micro decisions all day long. And it's a lens through which you show up to life every day. So why not do it in a way that serves you, brings you joy, fills your cup, and you'll be better at it and you'll enjoy the process, right? And that's why we're here in
Yes,
this life
yes,
experience.
yes. And I love that it's informed through awareness.
Yeah.
It's not a reaction to, listen, I am sick and tired of you people taking me for granted, and I am going to
Which
go
is
think
which
about.
which is by the way okay to have, but don't let that run your show because it won't do a
Right,
good job. That's all,
right.
right?
I mean, you can feel it. It like
Absolutely legitimate.
my
Yeah.
chest got tight, even
Just by saying it.
pretending that I was
Exactly.
irritated with some
Exactly.
invisible person that's not here. Oh, it's so good. Tell us about the
Yes. So, the way that I structure my work and the way that I structured the book, which is called No More Layers, Discover Your Inner Power and Reclaim True Freedom from the Inside Out. Because layers are these umbrella sort of layers that stand between who we are, who we know we can be, who we want to be, and how we're actually experiencing life. What we think about it, how we show up to it. And we were just having this whole conversation about time for yourself. And if you'd ask a person, well, if you could choose life, would you choose to also have time for you? Nobody's going to say no. But yet,
Right.
how many people actually do it? First of all, believe they have time for themselves and then
Mhm.
execute on that and then are consistent with it. And then don't feel guilty if they do it, right? So it's
Exactly.
quite like, emotionally charged. So that's a layer. That could be a layer of shame. That could be a layer of agency. That could be there are different layers. I had the layer of perfectionism. So I just have to be perfect to just be good enough or acceptable, or this has to be perfect just to be passable. And it's like, no, not at all. You're already good enough because you exist and you can contribute in the world in some way. Just find out who you are and then go do that as well as you can because nobody else can do it in the exact same way. And that's
Right.
wonderful. There's layers of shame. Like it's not what I do can be shameful, it's I am inherently shameful, right? There are
Mm,
layers that around like fear of just being who you are, and taking control of yourself. There are expectations. I need to do this and I need to do that. So that's around agency. Right? There's trust. I inherently don't trust the world. It's a horrible place. I don't know how I fit in, but it also means I probably don't trust me with me,
right.
between me and me, right? So there are 7 layers that I identify in the book, and then each one has derivative layers. And then the book is really about how to navigate that, one relationship that you're kind of born with and into, that is the last one that we pay attention to, which is the one with ourselves. Your thoughts are an expression of the quality of your relationship. They're actually quiet conversation, right?
Mm,
It's communication that when you think a certain way, you want to take a step back and say, well, wait, wait, wait. Do I agree with this thought? Do I like the
right.
quality of this thought? We don't think about our thoughts.
Yeah.
And I teach my clients to think about their thoughts because then they're like, wait, I don't agree with this. I'm like, great. That means it's not you. We play around and we have a lot of fun with brain hacks because really the brain is there to keep us safe,
Yes.
not to help us thrive, to just help us survive. So in a world that is full with so many things and where we're bombarded today, we are all in some form of fight or flight. And
Hmm.
we need to move away from that. And the way to move away from that is to train your brain to look at things differently, but to take control, not have your fears be in your driver's seat. And for
Right.
most of us, our fears, our conditioning, our limiting beliefs, the expectations of others and ourselves, that's what drives us every day. But if we didn't have that, then what would you do? Who would you be? how would you show up to life and how do you think you would experience it? And that's like a life of no more layers. It's something to aspire to and to work through, but not like with drama or trauma, but actually with fun and play and brain hacks and understanding your brain so well that you get it. It's like, oh, okay, my brain's panicked now, not me, my brain. Great, but I think that I can resolve the situation through a different route. Let me go do that. But I hear my brain and I talk it off the ledge. I say it all the time. Like I constantly talking my brain off the ledge. But it's fun because I don't take it so seriously. But in case there is something that's of value, it's like my best assistant in life ever.
Sure.
But it's not in charge because it's going to be overwhelmed. And this is why we feel overwhelmed, stressed, there's more depression, there's more anxiety. I never heard my grandparents talk about anxiety ever,
Right.
right? Even if there was wars and things like that. And yet today you have 5-year-olds who are diagnosed
I
with these
know.
things, depression, anxiety. It's heartbreaking, but I think there's too much coming at us and our brain is constantly on overwhelm. And so we really need to learn to work through that and to be really connected from within so that then we can connect with others outwardly.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to read the book. It's amazing. And I want to go all the way back to the first of the layers that you mentioned, perfectionism.
Oh, yes.
As you were talking, I was thinking, we all know nothing's perfect. And we all say before, it's like, oh, I'm really excited about this. It's not perfect, but it's just this habit that we know it's an elusive,
Yeah.
non-existent destination, yet we're all have that in our GPS. I don't really know why. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are around the motivation for perfectionism is it seems, just like our conditioning comes from people that were well-meaning. I believe they were well-meaning. They were doing the best they could with the tools they had. Maybe there was one bad person at the beginning that started the whole thing, but everybody else since were just doing what they were told. So when I think of my relationship with perfectionism, I would maybe soften it or give myself an excuse to hold on to it by saying, well, it's just the way I like things. Or well, I have to act like I have information. I know these other people appreciate when things look just like this. So I'm going to try really hard for things to look just like this because then they'll be happy. And when they're happy, I'm happy. Like it's all survive. I mean, it's totally a trauma response, I get. But how do we reframe that when we believe that the reasons for the unhealthy behavior are good on their own?
So I love the question. And
Oh,
I
good.
actually I've been asked this question many times, but not exactly in the way that you posed it. And I love the way that you actually express it. I think it's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
So the first thing is really, and this is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is to understand the brain so well that you really understand where it comes from. So everybody's well-meaning. I agree. Past generations were very well-meaning, but so are we when we add these layers of protection. Perfectionism is a protective mechanism, as is even shame, which sounds really strange because it doesn't feel good, as is mistrust. They're all protective mechanisms. If we understand how the brain works, it loves consistency. It loves status quo, so it will not
Mhm.
let you change a habit, even if it's a better habit. It's like you're alive now. This has been working for years. It doesn't matter if you're miserable, you're here. That means this is working. We are not changing anything. And by the
Mm,
way, the internal resistance that we feel, or right, or being held back when we want to do something, and it's like something's holding you back. Like, who's holding me back? I really want to do this. It's that part of your brain that says, no, 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 we're not going to unknown. We're not going to change. We're not doing anything different because change is unknown and unknown can mean danger and danger can mean death. We are wired, that part of the brain, the reptilian part of the brain is wired from thousands of years ago. And no matter how much technology advances our life, our brain does not catch up. So to
mm,
understand that, and today, because our brain has to filter so much with
sure.
social media, with technology, so much more, it is constantly in fight or flight because it knows
Mm,
that it cannot filter as much as what's coming at it. So it's already overwhelmed. So we get up in the morning, we're already overwhelmed. Like imagine that you get up in the morning, your brain is overly saturated, and it's like, what? I'm starting my day. I have too many things from like weeks ago that I'm still trying to filter. So that's number
Right.
one. When we understand that this is the shape our brain is in, we have to have a lot of compassion and a lot of understanding for the brain and come at it with, a little more gently and say, okay, fine. So I need to understand where my brain is coming at and why is this perfectionism like a layer here? What is this about? So perfectionism also, even though it's elusive, and this is where the brain is funny, right? Because it doesn't have discernment or judgment. It's like it would create, were I able to be perfect, two things. A, it means that people are not coming at me, which means I get a break. So as a trauma response, it's like, okay, if I did this well enough or perfectly or whatever it is, nobody's going to bother me. I'm going to
Right.
be accepted, or I won't be rejected, or there won't be consequences, or I won't have extra things to do. In other words, it's part of a sense of needing to be connected and belong, which is also part of the
Mhm.
reptilian brain. Because if we don't
Sure.
belong in society, if we're rejected, we could die because there's no food. That's not the way it is today, but the brain takes it the same way.
Yeah.
Number two, perfectionism is if I can strive and I could reach it, then it's known. There's no more unknown. Because
Mm.
perfectionism means it worked. If I can believe that, my brain believes like perfectionism leads you to known, to something stable, to something secure. So it's a safety mechanism that is really strange because you can never attain it. It doesn't make sense. We are perfectly imperfect for a reason because there's room to grow, there's room to explore, there's room to expand, and we get to choose how we do that. If we were perfect, we'd be bored out of our minds because we would all be perfect. There's nothing to strive for, nothing to accomplish, no sense of fulfillment. But that's not what the brain looks at. It's like, wow, perfection is great because go, go, go be perfect because then everything's going to be known from now on because it all works out all the time. It
Mm.
doesn't exist, but the brain doesn't get that part.
Right.
So perfection is twofold. It protects our brain, but it also protects us from repercussions from others or perceived repercussions from others.
Oh my
So how do
God.
we get rid of that? First of all, we understand it. Because when you understand it, and all of a sudden you're like, really? That's what perfectionism? That's what had a grip on me all these years? This is like ridiculous. So already once you understand it, you shed light on something that's mysterious or dark, you're not
Yes,
afraid of it anymore. And then you're like,
exactly.
okay, so great. So do I want to be perfect now? Is it helpful to me today? And it's like, I'd rather be free. I'd rather make
Right.
mistakes and learn from my mistakes. I'm not going to crumble and get a chance to grow, express myself, explore, discover. And if I do things, do they need to be perfect or can they just be good enough? If I'm a planner, maybe I want to plan things, but I can also plan for, well, what do I do if it doesn't work? Because I can keep an open mind and say, listen, brain, it might work or it might not. But let me invest in the process because in reality, the outcome is not in my hands. It's
Right.
never in our hands, but the process is. So have fun with the process and then say, okay, hand it over to the universe, whatever the outcome is, but I know that I've done what I can. And that's a life of no regrets. It's not the outcome, because sometimes you don't even know how you get to a positive outcome or a negative one. It's, did I do what I know that I could have done in this moment? And did it feel good doing it?
Oh, I love that. The beautiful way that, because we hear, like, you just have to, don't be attached to the outcome. Don't let the
Right? It
universe
doesn't
do its
work.
thing. Don't be,
Yeah.
and it's a lot easier to not be attached to the outcome if I had a role in the process.
Yes. You
Because,
attach
and
yourself to
that,
something else. Right.
right,
You can't have a vacuum. The brain, first of all, doesn't understand no, and we know this from don't think of an elephant. So you weren't thinking one, now you're
right,
stuck. Right. So the brain doesn't understand no. So, and there's no vacuum. It's going to fill it with something, whatever it's going to grab. And today there's so much, fear and negativity and overwhelm that that's what it's going to grab. So
sure,
fill it with something else. Give it something else to do that's fun. And that's what we do. We play. We keep the brain busy with things that's like, come, let's go explore this. Let's go figure out what this fear is about, not why, because that's judgment, but what?
right.
What's this perfectionism about? Ooh, let's go. And then the brain forgets, lets you go in, and there you go. So it's fun working with the brain because in reality, it's like this little overzealous child that or entity
Right.
that's like this alarm system on steroids, right?
Yes.
Everything's being, and it's like, I got this. Like, I've got this. Thank you for the warning, but I've got this. And then your brain learns to trust you and it'll sound the alarm a lot less and you'll feel a lot less overwhelmed in your day to day.
Right. It's like a sweet golden retriever.
100%.
Like,
It just got, it got lost in sort of like what it's
right.
supposed to do.
I'm barking because there's traffic, but then you
Nonstop. Right.
said
No, yes.
it's Main Street. It's okay. There's cars are supposed to be there. Oh, okay. So good.
Actually, that's exactly what it is.
Oh my gosh. I could talk to you all day. This was so helpful and beautiful. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you, how they can get their hand on the books, all the good things.
Absolutely, all the juicy stuff. So, first of all, I really enjoyed this. It was so much fun to play with you like this. So the book No More Layers, they can find it on Amazon, so it's really super easy. I have what I call open door policy, which means if anybody wants to reach out, if they have any questions, I have a team that does other things, but I actually personally respond. At least I can do that for now. But I really do take the time. It may take a little bit of time to respond to every person because this is part of the reason that I do what I do, right? It's to stay
Hey.
connected and to connect with people in the wider community. So you will get a personal response from me if you reach out or you have any questions or you want to work with me, whatever it is. I have a website, so it's www.martinecohen.com if you want to find out more. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Martine Cohen underscore is my Instagram, and Martine Cohen NML is the LinkedIn. And honestly, it's been so much fun, and I hope the listeners enjoyed it as well and got something out of it. And we really owe it to ourselves to get to know ourselves really well so that we can fulfill whatever it is that we were meant to be here on earth and enjoy that experience and make it the best quality that we can.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. We will link everything down in the show notes. And listener, don't forget, you can DM both Martine and I with your new sustainable, beautiful, just for you habit. We can't wait to hear. Martine, thank you so much. I love this
Pleasure. Thank you for having
conversation.
me.